In attendance, present, there is Molly Keegan, Joyce Chunglo, myself, Amy Parsons, and Randy Iser. Via Zoom, we have Jane Nevin-Smith, so all votes tonight will be taken via roll call. So in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 22 of the Acts of 22, signed by the governor on February 15th, 2022, I announce that this meeting of the Select Board is being recorded by Hadley Media, the Select Board's office via Zoom, and ask if there is anyone else present who is also recording this meeting. Let the minutes reflect that nobody else has indicated that they are recording this meeting. All right. Are we starting off with appointments?
There's a hearing first.
Which is the appointment?
Yeah, it's the hearing.
Okay, so this is a public hearing, which is called a vicious dog hearing. We're investigating a dangerous dog complaint pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157, with an aggressive person. When an aggrieved person, makes a complaint of a dangerous/nuisance dog, the Massachusetts General Law requires that we as a Select Board take action. Before beginning, I would like to take a moment to inform those participating in this hearing and members of the public that we recognize that dogs are considered beloved family members and pets. Following this hearing, we as a Select Board will have to make a determination if the dog in question is a nuisance dog or a dangerous dog. If we determine that the dog is dangerous, we will be required to impose one or more specific restrictions that are laid out within the law. Dangerous and nuisance dogs hearings are difficult for all involved, and we wish that there were alternative dispositions, but we cannot go outside of what the law requires us to do. Most often, the public wants a dangerous dog to be sent for behavioral assessments or to some type of training, that it be removed to another town or to another relative's home, or that the animal be surrendered for adoption or to a rescue. We cannot order any of these measures or any others that are not specified within the law. Following the hearing, we as a board will deliberate in open meeting and determine if the dog is dangerous, a nuisance, or if the complaint does not have merit and should be dismissed. If we determine the dog is dangerous, then we must implement at least one restriction that is specified in the law. Now, just for a little bit of clarification, there is a difference between what is a nuisance dog and what is a dangerous dog. So according to the Mass General Law, a dangerous dog is a dog that either, one, without justification attacks a person or domestic animal, causing physical injury or death, or two, behaves in a manner that a reasonable person would believe poses an unjustified imminent threat of physical injury or death to a person or to a domestic or owned animal. And then a nuisance dog is a dog that, one, by excessive barking or other disturbance is a source of annoyance to a sick person residing in the vicinity, or two, by excessive barking causes damage or other interference. A reasonable person would find such behavior disruptive to one's quiet and peaceful enjoyment. And three, has threatened or attacked livestock, a domestic animal, or a person, but such threat or attack was not a grossly disproportionate action under all circumstances. Is there anyone who is here to testify in this regards? Officer Mitch, okay. Do you want me to do this part too?
Yes.
All right, I know you're on via Zoom. Can you please raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony to be given on this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Lieutenant Cook, can you please identify yourself, your position, and certifications for the record?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mitch Cook. I'm the police lieutenant for the town of Hadley. And since 2009, I've been the town's animal control officer, and since 2015, I have been the animal control supervisor.
Is there not anybody here that's filing the complaint or opposing the complaint?
No, there's nobody else here for that. So because no dog can be deemed dangerous, if any of the following situations apply, I think we should ask Lieutenant Cook some questions. So did the complaint involve just barking, or was there growling involved with that?
No, the complaint is not solely for barking and growling.
Okay. To the best of your knowledge, is this complaint based solely on the breed that the dog is?
No, it is not.
Okay. Was the dog in question protecting or defending itself, its offspring, another domestic animal, or a person from attack or assault?
Not that we're aware of.
Was the person who was attacked or threatened by the dog committing a crime upon the person or property, a person or property of the owner or keeper of the dog?
No,
Was the person attacked or threatened by the dog engaged in teasing, tormenting, battering, assaulting, injuring, or otherwise provoking the dog?
no, not that we're aware of.
At the time of the attack or threat, was the person or animal that was attacked or threatened by the dog within an enclosure or structure in which the dog was kept apart from the public?
No, it was not.
So can you just report to us on the complaint and what your findings were?
Certainly. Members of the board, on Monday, September 11th of this year, Officer Delgado spoke to a resident of Frost Lane, Mr. Cornelius Detroit, and this happened at the police station. This was regarding a complaint that the neighbor's dog had attacked his son. Mr. Detroit, who resides at number 10 Frost Lane, reports that at approximately 3:35 in the afternoon that day, his 7-year-old son Declan was playing in their front yard when he was attacked by the neighbor's dog from number 8 Frost Lane. Mr. Detroit stated that Declan's brother Logan, now just for the record, Declan is age 7 and Logan is age 11. Logan heard his brother screaming and ran over to help him. And according to Mr. Detroit, Logan was able to get the dog to leave by hitting him with a toy that he had. This incident had occurred in the Detroit's yard located at number 10 Frost Lane. The dog had caused lacerations on Declan's foot, his right thigh, and right calf. I've provided photos. Prior to the hearing. Following this incident, Mr. Detroit took his son to the Cooley Dickinson Hospital to be treated for injuries. So following this bite incident, I became involved and conducting an investigation. And through the town clerk's office, I was able to identify that the resident at number 8 Frost Lane is a one Jennifer Cordes. And Miss Cordes had numerous dogs, in excess of 5 dogs listed at the residence. And during the initial investigation, the kids had described the dog as being brown and buff or muscular. And so in reviewing the dog license information at the home from the town clerk's office, I was able to go through and review all the descriptions of the dog, and I found that one dog in particular was of size and description, and I found that dog's name was Junior. He's listed as a mixed breed, but I believe that everyone would commonly refer to him as a pit bull mix. And after learning this information, I responded to the residents. I spoke with Miss Cordes, and I mentioned to them this complaint regarding Junior, and they were initially hesitant to speak about this, but ultimately they stated that they were aware of the incident and that since the incident had occurred, they had been ensuring that whenever Junior is outside of the home, that he is leashed at all times and that he is left outside, that he is not left outside unattended. So based on all this information, obviously, from the photographs, you can see that Declan did sustain some injuries. I hesitate to call them minor because obviously that, you know, one of which is a pretty deep laceration. But in comparison to other matters that we've investigated, not nearly as serious injuries. Also, based on the fact that the family, that the Cordes family has already taken measures to ensure that the dog is not left outside unattended and is restrained, then I felt as though is that while we should do this hearing, that we should continue to that the select board, my recommendation would be that the select board order the continued restraint. And obviously that's my recommendation. And you have several remedies in which that you can order. Although I think that based on the fact that this dog has not been the subject of a complaint before, the family's compliance with restraining the dog, I believe that an order issuing to the family that the dog is to be restrained at all times is appropriate.
Do they have a fenced-in yard?
They do have a fenced-in yard, although this incident, during this incident, it's unknown how the dog escaped the fenced-in yard, which is why they have taken to ensuring that the dog is on a leash, even when the dog is within their fenced-in yard.
Do they say how long they've had the dog, since the dog has not had any other occurrence of aggression?
I don't have the dog license information, but it is my understanding that these dogs are all adopted.
Did you make the dog owners aware of your recommendation to the select board?
Yes, I did. When I spoke with them that day, I informed them that I was pleased with their already instituted remedial action, and that based on the situation where the dog has not been the subject of a complaint before, that I felt as though that was appropriate. Although I did advise that I'm not the one that makes the decision, that it is you as the board that ultimately makes the decision.
So I think, given the situation, the evidence, that I would consider this dog to be a dangerous dog instead of just a nuisance dog. So we have to make that determination, and then based on the determination that we make, we have to decide an action. So, you know, what you said, I would consider this dog to be a dangerous dog, and I've trained many dogs. I used to foster out dogs. I used to train foster dogs and adopt them out. Unfortunately, it kind of sucks that it has to be like this breed, because this breed gets such a bad rap. But it doesn't really matter what the breed is. If this is what happened, we have the evidence, I would consider it a dangerous dog.
And Amy, does the remedy that Lieutenant Cook is recommending, that's one of the approved remedies for a dangerous dog, right?
Yep. So there's I think there's 7 different things we could do. We could order the dog to be restrained, which would be what Mitch has recommended, is just for it to be on leash. There's another remedy, which is confined, which means the dog would have to be confined on the premises. It could be muzzled. So that's a kind of another one. And then we could, say that the owner needs to have insurance on this dog. We could, if I don't know if it said, or if you had the information on whether he was neutered, we could request that. And then the very last kind of worst case scenario would be euthanized.
I'm inclined to accept the recommendation of,
Oh, go ahead, Jane.
oh, Jane's hands up. Yep.
Did anyone talk to the victim's family about this remedy?
I have been in communication with the family back and forth. I did not speak with them about this particular remedy. But part of the reason that I felt that this remedy was appropriate was because the situation that we're dealing with here is unlike anyone that I've ever investigated before, in that the victim is a minor child. The other person that was there to witness this was a minor child, and it was not otherwise witnessed. And so if you remember earlier when Madam Chair was asking me some questions, I had said to the best, not to the best of our knowledge. And that's because it was unwitnessed. And we're going solely off of what young Logan has conveyed along to us. So I felt as though I weighed that as part of my recommendation.
I'll make a motion to accept Lieutenant Cook's recommendation for the having the dog restrained anytime that it's outside and on leash.
Okay, a procedural question. Do we have to, as a board, determine that the dog is dangerous first before we do that?
I think we should
I agree.
make a determination on that first.
So I'll rectify that and say that the dog is dangerous and that we will accept that the dog is a dangerous animal, and that the recommendation of Lieutenant Cook is to restrain and be on leash at all times when outside.
I'll second that.
Okay, motioned by Joyce, seconded by Molly. Is there any further discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Keegan,
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes.
And Nevin Smith.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay. All right, excellent.
Thank you, Lieutenant Cook.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is he doing the, so he can get out?
We've got public comment.
Yeah, so let's do, is there anything else that Mitch is here for?
No, Madam Chair, I just, for procedural purposes, I believe that you've motioned to consider the dog dangerous, but I don't believe that you've entertained a motion for the disposition.
I think it was a
combo.
It was a combo.
It was a combo.
Okay, if you're happy, I'm happy.
All right.
We're happy.
We're ecstatic.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Okay, moving into section 3.1, public comment. It's a period of about 15 minutes. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. So that other members of the public may have an opportunity to speak if they wish to do so. Is there anyone here for public comments? If you're on the line, please raise your hand.
No one.
Save it for emails. All right, so let's go ahead and
Right.
do 4.1, the consent agenda. Warrants PR 2406, AP 2414, AP 2414S, AP 2413S, AP 2412, AP 2413, AP 2431 INS, and AP 2413V. Also, the minutes from September 20th, 2023. In addition to a one-day liquor license, top of the campus football game at McCurk Stadium, 2 locations on 11/25/2023. Automatic amusement device application, Kittleton Incorporated, 6 devices located at 362 Russell Street, and assistant treasurer appointment of Sarah Fairbanks.
Do we want to pull the last one out? Linda, did you want to talk about that a little
Yes, I
bit?
actually didn't realize it was on, I was looking down below at the other. So I'm very happy to hear that it's part of the consent agenda. She actually started today and we're very comfortable with how things are moving along. She's very, very well. Yeah, so we're very happy with some.
Okay, anything on the 1-day liquor license?
The chief did put the requirements for inspections before the events and a fire watch is required.
All right, okay, motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second,
All right, motion by Molly, seconded by Joyce. Any further discussion? You do one, okay. Roll call vote?
Roll call vote, Keegan.
Yes.
Chungalo,
yes.
Parsons,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes,
and Nevin Smith.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay, moving into Council on Aging Director, Interim Director, Search Committee appointment and job description.
Amy, would you mind putting that out of order, doing the warrant review first, Linda's here, and Troy is, sorry, Haley, it's just, oh, sorry. She's like, fine, watch, but if we can just do the warrant first, Troy would like to be on, and he is bringing his horses in, so.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do the special town meeting 2023 warrant review. And a division of motions.
Do we have finance on tonight or no? Are they?
They are posted but unable to, do we have anybody on there? Is Andy on?
I don't see anyone.
see anybody?
Yeah, I don't see anybody either.
Okay. Martha's watching you, Randy.
I know it. You gotta behave.
So you've reviewed it, so you just need to vote on the motions. If you have questions, just, my recommendation is to go through each article. If you have questions, I can answer, or anyone else, Chief is here and Linda's here.
So we don't know how finance committee, they have, okay. Right.
Finance committee recommended, so how do you want to do that?
Can you come up front?
Yeah, pop up here,
Yes.
Center table,
over here.
your favorite place.
And then we can do them article by article so that we can,
Your recommendation?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because the recommendations aren't on the copy that we have, so.
Oh, they are on there?
They're not.
It's on there, okay. Okay, then we'll do it as we go through it one by one. But they did approve, well, yeah, we'll do it one by one.
Do you want me to read them out loud, each one?
I would,
All the way through, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Article 1 is the omnibus budget, general fund, so it's going to be to see if the town will vote to amend the fiscal 2024 general fund budget, voted in Article 8 of the warrant of the annual town meeting held on May 4th, 2023. And as funding, therefore, raise and appropriate and transfer from available funds an amount sufficient to fund the various line items in the fiscal year 2024 general fund budget or take any action relative thereto.
So we went through it generally with finance committee and they recommend the amendments to the budgets 500, so unanimous there. When you received an earlier draft of the budget, it had an itemized block with where all the changes were.
Mhm.
And then because, and then we included all the salary adjustments as a single line, so it was rather short. But then when we had to break out the salary adjustments by every department, and it really hit almost every department, maybe every department, because of the union contracts and other adjustments, it just became very lengthy. So like the annual town meeting budget, the annual one, we're going to have a handout sheet, which is going to show each department and the changes in it. So do you want me to go through now generally what they are as was in the draft?
They're gonna get a handout at the
Yes.
meeting,
Okay.
so that should be fine.
All
I
right.
think.
Yeah, I'm
fine with that.
and you did, we did review.
We already did.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the omnibus budget.
Second,
Okay, motioned by Joyce, seconded by Molly. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Keegan.
yes.
Chungalo.
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes,
And Nevin Smith.
yes,
Thank you.
Okay. Article years kind
Who's
of.
gonna speak on this?
Oh, sorry, who's gonna speak on this
Yeah,
one?
thank you.
Do you want me to take it?
Yeah.
I've got
Oh,
a sheet. I'm ready.
So who do we, is there ones that are specific to finance committee
I'll-
or just?
I'll tell you those as we get to them, but
Okay,
this
yeah.
one is
Carolyn, right?
Carol?
It's me, but it has been a combination in the past. Amy Fiden from finance has done that as well as capital, but it's been different. So it's really we can talk to finance committee to see if they would like to speak on it.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a huge line. There's a lot of lines to this, I'm
One
sure.
page.
One
One
page. So I would imagine that somebody's going to make a motion to not have to read through the whole thing.
I believe so. They didn't read through the annual one.
Right.
Why they would read through.
So,
We haven't done that in a couple of years. now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be that much to explain.
Okay,
So we're gonna leave that up to the finance committee?
Well,
or-
what we've done in the past is put me and finance committee, and then we kind of like decide who
Okay.
wants to do it.
Wrestle to the mic.
That works.
Don't all stand up at once.
okay.
Okay, so Article 2, I think another housekeeping one. Clean up prior capital balances. So there's two parts to this. So 2.1 is to see if the town will vote to transfer the following balances from prior town meeting articles. Or take any action relative thereto, and that's in regards to the highway mini loader. And then 2.2 is to see if the town will vote to lower the borrowing authorization for the fire department vehicle and the highway plow truck / sander, or take any action relative thereto.
So moved. Anything on this, Linda? It's pretty
Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I'll second.
It's housekeeping.
All right, so motion by Joyce, seconded by Molly. Any discussion? Excellent.
The one thing you might want to say is this brings money back into the funds.
Right.
So, I mean, when we're bringing 20,000 back in one article and reducing borrowing by 25,000, it's nice to
Yeah.
tell people we're going.
Right, in
Heading
case
the
they
right
don't know what lower the borrowing means, that means that we're not borrowing. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Keegan.
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac.
Yes.
And Nevin Smith.
Yes,
Who's going to deal with this one?
It's kind of the same toss up, isn't it?
Yep.
Thank
Same.
Finance and so.
Okay. Article 3 is capital articles. This is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from Hadley Media Reserves, authorize the treasurer to borrow, or otherwise provide $310,000 for expenses associated with the following capital items, which is the town IT replace the server, computer aided emergency medical dispatch protocol, Hadley Media, computers, cameras, audio visual equipment, and the DPW, which is the new building schematics. And then their funding sources are there.
So moved.
How did I guess I was curious, did the finance committee vote on this?
Yes, the finance committee approved all 4 of them, 500, and the capital planning committee approved all 4 of them in both cases with 3 out of the 5 voting yes. And the only difference is I had to set it out differently because they were 2 different meetings, and there was just.
Is the 2, are those people that weren't there?
2,
That was one
Oh,
of
so
them.
one will be an abstention.
3, 1.
No, there were
Or not
3-0, nobody there. There was
There was
only 3 people
there.
there.
So I entered that wrong, didn't I, Randy? So that was a 302 for the.
What's on
for
here?
the
It was
45,
302.
not 311. There were 3 of you there and it's.
Yeah, that was 3-0 and 2 were missing.
It's 302. Okay, so it's, all right, I will fix that then. It's 302 for all of them.
Okay.
And I'll second the motion, but I do have a question. So can I second it for discussion?
Yeah, so we'll motioned by Joyce, seconded by Molly, and then discussion.
Yeah, I just want to ask a question because I know this happens sometimes at town meetings. So right now, for the capital articles, so for these 4, there's no borrowing outside of the right? There's no debt override associated with it. So we've got two free cash, one from reserves and one borrowing within the levy.
That's correct.
And that's the logic behind the four of them being grouped. And are we prepared just in case somebody requests to have them voted individually or pull one out?
They are going to be at least two and maybe three motions. I'm not sure how the attorney is going to have it, but what we've done before is we've listed all of them like this, sometimes quite a long list. And we would do a motion for the free cash ones can be all in one motion.
Mhm.
The Hadley Media Reserves for 5,000, it could either be part of that motion or a second motion.
Mhm.
And then the borrowing would need to be its own motion because that's a 2/3 vote for borrowing and the others are moving the money. And yes, this is a borrowing that is within the levy. That means the payments on the borrowing for the DPW schematics for 225,000 would be paid out of the budgeted amount for debt and interest that we voted on meeting each spring.
So do we need to do like a 3.1, 3.2 with this, or can we leave
The
it all?
motions will be like that.
They will be that, okay.
Okay, and we'll make sure that the town moderator, again, is prepared for it to go in different
Yes.
directions.
Yeah,
There will be,
hope he shows up before
the
the
motions will be
meeting.
written out, right?
Mhm.
Okay. We'll have them.
Okay.
You'll get you'll get the version that has the motions and the explanations.
Okay.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Roll call Keegan,
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes,
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac
Yes.
and Nevin Smith. Jane,
She's muted.
hello, Jane.
You're on mute.
Taking a break.
Okay.
Jane, can you hear us?
Wave, hello. You got it.
Well, we have a,
Okay, 4-0.
we've got 401. Okay. Article 4, school locker room.
Excuse me, who's speaking to that?
Oh,
How about Randy?
It's capital.
That's capital.
Paul?
Paul or Randy?
Paul.
Paul Randy.
I'll do it.
She's unmuted now. Jane, do you want to vote?
Yes,
Thank you.
I'll-
Yeah, Randy will do it.
Randy's on.
Randy, okay, thank you.
okay. Article 4, school locker room renovations. This is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, borrow, transfer from available funds, or otherwise provide 1.069 million to pay the costs of a renovation of the girls' and boys' locker rooms at Hopkins Academy, or take any action relative thereto. Finance Committee,
Finance Committee voted 5-0-0 to support it. Capital Planning was 3-0 with 2 absent.
okay.
Motion to support?
Okay.
Second,
All right, motioned by Molly, seconded by Joyce. Is there any discussion on
is
this?
this where the funds coming from, Linda?
This is a debt exclusion override. So this one and the next one are the two that are going to be going to have to go to a ballot election in December.
December?
It's tentatively 12th. You guys have to officially vote on that on the next meeting.
Okay,
And I'm assuming the school will speak to this, right?
Yes.
School superintendent?
or I can, because it's been a long time. I'm the liaison to, if I said that right, did I say it right?
Liaison?
Maybe liaison,
Liaison?
liaison.
Liaison.
Yes, I'm that person to the school committee, so I'll see who would like to speak to that.
Yeah, I'm that. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote Keegan.
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes,
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac
Yes.
and Nevin Smith.
yes,
Thank you.
Okay, so Article 5 is the fire department. Oh, who's going to speak on that? Oh, we already did that. Sorry.
yeah, we did that.
Moving on. Article 5, fire department ladder trucks. This is going to be to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, borrow, transfer from available funds, or otherwise provide $2.15 million to pay the costs of a new ladder truck for the fire department, or take any action relative thereto.
Okay, Finance Committee voted unanimously for that. Capital Planning voted 2 for, 1 against, and then 2 were not there, so it carried.
Motion to approve.
Oh, can we ask, oh, because usually we have a joint meeting with the finance committee, don't we?
I did post for them this evening.
Okay, do we know what their no was?
I do happen to know that the one no
Not who, but like what, I mean,
was also is on the finance committee. And then by the time they met 1 or 2 weeks later, it was a yes for finance committee, and capital didn't go back and revote. So
Okay.
I'm sure he will get up to speed.
Okay,
Explain.
all right, motion please.
We did,
We did?
I did, and then.
Second. Oh, sorry. Brain's everywhere tonight. Motion by Joyce, seconded by Molly. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Roll call Keegan,
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes,
Nevin Smith.
Yes,
and the chief,
And I'm assuming
the chief will speak.
I'm happy to support it from the select board if you want.
I can, I'm the late.
Well, you get to go too.
Mine, my last hurrah, come on now.
You got your hour-long presentation going?
Wondering what the time
Just a question, when we do that though, I think we need some numbers about what the increase for, on both of these debt exclusions, for how much the increase to the tax dollar would be.
We have
The, you know, that Mr. Matuska will get up and ask that, or somebody will.
We're ready.
You're right, this is your last town meeting, because the election's moved now then after.
So we better give her everything.
Yeah.
Wait, no, the election after it, right?
Right, I was thinking.
Yeah, I'll still be there for the.
You'll be here for the next one, okay. All right, Article 6, prior year bills. So I think this is also a housekeeping one. So it's to see if the town will vote to pay, transfer, or appropriate the sum of $17,603.20 for prior year invoices received in fiscal year 2024 that are really supposed to be for fiscal year 2023. This will be all on the handout. I'm not going to read out every single one.
Motion to approve?
Second,
Motion by Molly, seconded by Joyce. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote Keegan,
Yes.
Chungalo,
yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes,
Nevin Smith.
yes,
Thank you.
All right.
who's gonna do that?
But I think I did this one. I always do this one, actually.
That's a fun one.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's a nice, easy one.
Amy.
Yeah, I'll do that one. That's fine.
And just to be consistent, finance committee approved that 1500.
Okay. I mean, I figured they'd have to, because I have to get paid. I've got to pay our bills. Okay, Article 7, CPA extensions. To see if the town will vote to extend the deadline for the following 3 projects funded by the Community Preservation Act funds. So the Town Hall 4 pillars, 2 years, which it's the same thing, but it's been extended twice. Is that right?
It's 2 different articles, and they're both being extended.
Okay,
I paid the first one today. Carolyn signed off and I processed it, so.
okay. And then the other one was the Hockenham Cemetery fence, and that's looking for an additional year. Okay.
Take it away now. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Joyce, seconded by Molly, and the committee.
Capital planning, community preservation, CPA approved at 800. Finance committee 500.
Okay. All right. Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote Keegan.
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes,
and Nevin Smith.
yes,
Excellent.
CPA will speak to it.
CPA speaks to that one. Okay. That's probably what Mary there.
Mary, say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
There you chair.
Article 8, 146 Russell Street, which is the former St. John's Church, to see if the town will vote to transfer $6,550 from the CPA Historic Set Aside Fund and $118,850 from the CPA undesignated fund for a total of $125,400 to the St. John's Realty Trust for preservation of the exterior of the building at 146 Russell Street. And then there's more.
So moved.
CPA recommends that 7-0-0. Finance Committee recommends it 3-4, 1 against and 1 abstention due to conflict. And that's it.
And the against was, is it for like a reasoning or is it another?
No reason was given at the meeting.
Okay. Okay. Motioned by Joyce. Can we get a second on that?
I'll second it.
I don't want to hog all this. All right, it's the motion. Joyce, seconded by Randy. Any further discussion on this? Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Keegan,
Oh, this is a tough one. Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes.
Parsons,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
and Nevin Smith.
No,
Could have had your no. I said you could have had your no if you wanted it.
Oh, yeah, no, I just,
We deal with it at town meeting.
Yeah, all right. And I'm assuming, does the CPA speak to this one as well?
More or less, we're just putting it on there so people can vote for it. It's how I think-
yeah, but
feel
there's a
it too.
CPA article.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. No, I'm not gonna say no, it's their choice to put it on, so.
In case somebody asks, Jane, what is, why are you no? In case someone asks us.
She can get up and say what.
because this is a private property, privately owned, not any town thing. Whereas like First Church is significant in the history of the town because of its need for the charter for the town to be formed. But this is truly a private enterprise and a business, and therefore should be able to fund its own activities.
And I would say also that it is historic and it is in the center of town also, so, I mean, but we're
Let's
gonna
not discuss, let's not debate it this evening.
let the people discuss it at town meetings.
That's fine.
It's gonna be my follow-up.
No, but I mean, someone, between now and then might ask one of us what the note was. And,
Yes.
okay. All right, so Article 9, zoning bylaw amendment to vote to amend the Hadley zoning bylaw.
Do you typically?
We don't have to vote on
You don't vote on these?
No, so you want to go down to.
13. No, 12.
So yeah, that's planning board, that 9 and 10 are planning. board.
Article 11.
Okay, so
So they had
Article,
their hearing and it was unanimously supported last night by them,
okay,
both of them.
excellent. Article 11, opioid settlement stabilization fund, to see if the town will vote to accept the 4th paragraph of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B, which allows the dedication without further appropriation of all or a percentage not less than 25% of particular fees, charges, or receipts to a stabilization fund established under Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B, to be effective for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st, 2023, and create the opioid settlement stabilization fund to be established under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B, effective for fiscal year 2024, beginning on July 2023, for the purposes of using opioid settlement money received by the town for opioid use disorder, OUD, treatment, support programs for people with OUD and treatment and recovery, connects to care for people with or at risk of developing OUD, harm reduction efforts to prevent overdoses, death, or other opioid-related harms, support of diversion and deflection programs and strategies for criminal justice involved persons with OUD, support of pregnant or parenting women and their families, including babies with neonatal abstinence syndrome, to prevent misuse of opioids and implement prevention education or take other action thereto.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Joyce, seconded by Molly.
And Finance Committee recommended it 5-0-0.
Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Keegan,
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes.
Parsons,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes,
and Nevin Smith.
Yes,
Thank you.
Sorry, that was a mouthful.
who's gonna do it?
Do you want me to do it?
Well, you've had practice reading it, Amy.
Molly hasn't had one for the night.
Yeah, Joyce stole my fire.
Yeah,
truck, so
sorry.
I'll take this home.
I always feel bad because I was babied for like my first 2 years. And then it's like, now you're the chairwoman and it's like, oh no.
I would recommend that whoever does 11, I mean, does 12 is 12. Yeah, 11, 12 and 13.
We'll just stay up there and just roll right over.
Yeah.
That'll be the plan.
Okay. Do you want to do it, Molly? Sure. All right. So we'll give you the microphone. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote. Keegan?
Yes.
Chugalo?
Yes,
Parsons?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes,
And Nevin Smith.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay.
except the stabilization, because we already did 11.
Yeah, Article 12 is to fund the opioid stabilization fund, and that's just funding it from free cash.
So moved.
Motion by Molly,
second,
by Randy.
Randy,
Any discussion?
woke up.
Excellent. Well, how's the weather down there?
In a second.
Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote. Keegan?
Yes.
Chugalo?
Yes.
Parsons?
Yes.
Isaac?
yes,
And Nevin Smith.
yes,
Thank you.
Okay, and then Article 13 is just the spending of it, so to see if the town, sorry, go ahead.
12 was the funding, 13 is to spend it.
Right,
Oh, okay.
to see if the town will transfer the sum
Okay.
to be expended by the administrator. Okay, so moved.
second,
Oh.
Whoa, motion made by Randy, seconded by Jane.
He woke up too. Yay.
Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote. Keegan?
Yes.
Chugalo?
Yes,
Parsons?
Yes.
Isaac?
yes,
And Nevin Smith.
yes,
Okay, so Articles 11, 12, and 13 will be Molly. Article 14 is Birch Meadow Drive, which is to accept as a public way. Do you want me to read the whole thing, or are we good with that?
I think what you've done is plenty.
Okay, so,
So moved,
second.
motioned by Randy, seconded by Joyce.
Planning board, unanimous, 500.
Okay, unanimous by planning board. Any discussion from the select board? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote. Keegan?
Yes.
Chugalo?
Yes,
Parsons?
Yeah,
Isaac?
yes,
And Nevin Smith.
okay,
Yes.
who doesn't
I
have
don't
one?
have anything yet. I'll speak to this one.
You want that one? All right.
Yeah.
So, okay,
that's it.
that was pretty good. Pretty, all right. It looks like Troy is here. Yep. Hi, Troy. Can you hear us?
hello.
You can, thank you.
All right.
The gentleman who snubbed my apples.
This horse,
He did not want an apple.
He doesn't eat fruit, apparently.
who, the horse?
I should have taken one for the horse.
I don't know. Did you go over and see his horses?
Not at $38 for half a bushel, Okay. So Troy is here. So we're essentially going to discuss the appointment of an interim council on aging director and appoint the director search committee. So the members of the committee were to be Jane, Linda Leduc, Rosalie Weinberg, Carolyn Brennan, Troy Bryn, and Haley Wood. And then attached, we have the responsibilities for that.
So moved.
Okay. Motion.
Troy, have anything?
Did you have anything you wanted to add, Troy, to that?
Nothing at all right now, thank you.
So what are we voting on, or,
We're voting on the search committee.
okay, that's what I thought, thank you.
Sorry, was the motion by Joyce, seconded by Molly?
Yeah, just the search committee right now. Then
Yeah.
we're going to talk about the interim.
Yes, yep.
Yep.
Okay, we have a roll call vote on that?
Roll call vote. Keegan?
Yes.
Chugalo?
Yes,
Parsons?
Yep.
Isaac?
Yes,
And Nevin Smith.
Yes,
Okay,
Thank you.
and now Troy is here to discuss the appointment of an interim COA director. Is that right? Okay.
I can start, yeah.
So I don't know if you want to handle this, Carolyn, or kick it over to Haley.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. My recommendation, I think this is going to be, I think it's not going to be a long gap. And I do believe Violet, who's as the program coordinator for the COA, has done it before, right before Haley came. And I certainly would want to have you get Haley's input as well. I think it would be an even transition, and she would be there. She would be available to also, if she was to act as the interim, to help with the new director in the transition for a couple of weeks. So it would be appropriate, as it was before when she did that, to give her an extra pay to cover that when she's taking on those responsibilities. But Haley, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
I think that you've done a good job summing it up. I will add that I feel completely confident in Violet's ability to steer the ship and be the lead staff person at the senior center in the event of a short gap between my being director and the new hire. And she's willing to do it. And we've discussed what those responsibilities would be. And I feel comfortable and think that would be the most smooth transitional choice.
Haley, can I just ask a question?
Sure.
I know I've heard the language short transition, and obviously I hope it is a short time frame, but just knowing what the market is like out there, do you have any concerns, like if it's not, a month and it turns into 3 months or something like that, or even 4, are you still comfortable?
Well, I think Violet has indicated her willingness to do this until the end of the year, so until the end of December. I think you would need to renew negotiations with her at that time, and perhaps she would be willing to continue, and maybe she wouldn't be. It could be longer than a month. I hope not.
Okay.
And add to that comment just real quick, just for the board's awareness, we do have 3 solid applicants that the selection committee has tentatively identified. We have 6 that met the basic qualification criteria to date. Haven't received any new applications as of today. I think the last new application came in not yesterday, but the day before. But just for awareness, we do have some good quality candidates in the pool right now.
Okay, Jane?
My concern, yes, we do have quality candidates in the pool. However, nothing was put out for a salary range, and we have no idea whether or not these candidates are willing to work for what the town will offer them, which is what could cause this long delay.
We don't usually put out the salary at this point.
Typically, salaries aren't on
Not always.
Right, and I'm just saying that when we get to the interview stage, they may say, oh, I really like the job, but not for that amount of money. It's worth more than that, and we may not have the budget to pay them. And that could cause these negotiations to go on longer and longer.
Right. So then the answer to my question then is that because I think we have to anticipate that that's a possibility. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like the recommendation is it's October now. So Violet would do it for November, December, and then we would need to readdress it with her at that point.
Till the end of the year, till summer, end of beginning.
Right, and then we would probably have to renegotiate with her, staying.
And just also, so you know, we met, Troy, myself, Haley, and Violet met today to go over those exact situation and how long. I wasn't hearing an adamant, like, no, I'm gone. After that, I'm going back to my old job. And I don't want to speak on behalf of Violet. Mm-hmm. Violet certainly is sensitive to the needs here and would help with that transition. But we are concerned as well about the salary. And I think you could see us coming back in the next couple of weeks because we are concerned. Haley has done a wonderful job, but it's going to be very difficult for some of these candidates. So,
okay,
but we're not there yet.
Okay. Do we need to vote on this?
You need to vote to appoint.
Do we need to vote to appoint?
Committee, yes.
We already did the
Yeah, so
committee.
we appointed the committee. We don't have to
I
vote.
included, Haley was, very helpful and put what the responsibilities would be. So it's, it's not, we were going to put a draft up of the COA director job description, but she would not be responsible for everything that's in that yet. And it's still in draft form. So this is really helpful. It's for you to look at to see what she would be responsible for.
Okay. Sounds good.
Do they need to appoint Violet?
As an interim? Okay, so, can I get a motion for that?
Make a motion to appoint Violet. Does Violet have a last name?
Suska,
Suska?
Suska,
Suska.
Suska,
Suska.
Suska.
Suska, Violet Suska as the interim COA director.
Second,
Okay, motion did by Joyce.
I'll
Second.
second that.
Pardon?
Second.
she'll third it.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Keegan,
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes,
and Nevin Smith.
Yes,
Thank you.
All right.
All right, so we're moving on to new business. So we have a Hadley Housing Authority resignation from Harry Chadwick. He submitted a letter of resignation that would be effective December 2023. So we'll need to hold a joint meeting with the Hadley Housing Authority to appoint a new member on that.
Motion to accept Harry Chadwick's resignation and thank him for his service on the Hadley Housing Authority.
Second.
Okay, motion by Molly, seconded by Joyce. Is there any discussion on that? Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Keegan,
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes.
Parsons.
Yes.
Isaac,
yes,
Nevin Smith.
yes,
Thank you.
Okay. 6.2, land use coordinator appointment. So we are here to appoint Kayla Lubriel. Is that right? Lubriel? To the position of land use coordinator. We have her resume here. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at that. Is there any discussion on that?
The only question I had is just, and I guess this is mainly for Troy and Carolyn, just in light of the conversation we were having at the previous select board meeting. This position is going to be reporting to multiple parties. And I'm just looking at the way it's worded. So it says that the position's accountable to the town administrator, but they may receive direction from other places. So could be a bit of a challenge. I'm just wondering how.
I can answer.
Yeah, from your standpoint.
It's one of the things we've discussed a lot is having sharing departments, sharing a staff person. We feel like it's a good step forward. She's in the right department, but I've spoken to her recently. I think she has established certain relationships to those committees and boards, but it's certainly something that myself and Troy are going to keep an eye on so that it remains clear, it remains balanced, and any concern we can address. So under the circumstances and the funding and where it was available, this is really one of the best choices that we have right now to start professionalizing that position so that it can provide the support that's needed for all of those departments.
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge that I would see coming up is, somebody may have to make a decision on what her priorities are. So if, conservation and planning are lining up at the same time with like the most important thing to them, and you can't split her in half. So, so that's all I was asking is, so she would go to you.
I agree. And I think we all are concerned about that,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
we'll do the best we can to support her and the boards and committees in trying to work it all out.
so what did you mean by keep an eye on things?
Is that what I said, keeping an eye on things?
Yeah,
Communicating with
So-
each department with Kayla to make sure she's feeling that she's getting that support, and if there's any lack of communication or lack of direction for us to work together to make that
all
clear.
right, that
Thank
sounds
you.
good.
Jane has her hand.
Jane has a question.
what is the funding source for this position?
Okay, from each of the departments, Linda will have the details. She's working for the assistance with CPA for the administrative allocation. but I'll let Linda finish her mouth, right?
Well, not on my.
Got her coat on, she's ready to leave.
I'm leaving. I think it's 15 hours, conservation, 15 hours are paid from planning board, 5 hours are paid from CPA. That adds up to 35, is that?
Correct.
Is that right? Okay, that's what it is then. Now zoning board is also part of, the mix. They meet less often, so that's just going to have to be, that's where you're keeping an eye on how that's going to work out with the other boards. But as far as the general disposition of the hours, we're hoping that we're expecting, and we had met with all of these boards back when we were initially funding the position, that we think the allocation of the funding is going to line up with the actual, how she's going to be spending her time. That's the goal anyways, but we'll
And
see
it's
how-
gonna ebb and flow. CPA is busy 2 times a year, so it's gonna ebb and flow where it goes. It's not gonna be exact every single week, but that we've got to keep it some kind of structure to it. And Troy did communicate with the chairs to make sure they understood like what it was gonna be like, and so.
I feel that probably the planning board and possibly the conservation commission will be the most hours of where her
That's right.
time will be spent. So I'm hoping that she's not going to be inundated with, and I know that the planning board has a lot of things on their plate on what to do and what they would like her to do. So I hope they're a little more directive in knowing that they have 15 hours a week, to see what they could actually have her do and get done for them, same as the other, committees.
Right. And it'll be a challenge for them to figure out what it is that they can shift over and what they should be shifting over to an employee.
Mhm.
And this is also part of their, what do we call it? Succession planning.
Mhm.
So that, so in time, that's probably not going to be enough hours if looking down the road, if you're going to get an employee to, fulfill the responsibilities of planning board after the planning board members who are there, leave, you can't do a direct replacement of the work that they do on it. So this is, as Carolyn called it, a step in the right direction, and we'll start moving things off of the board members and then see what it is we need next. This is something that's probably going to have to be revisited at least once a year at budget time and see how it's going. But we're going in the right direction.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Kayla Lubriel to the position of land use coordinator.
Second.
Okay, motion by Molly, seconded by Joyce. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Keegan,
Yes.
Chungalo,
Yes.
Parsons,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
and Nevin Smith.
Yes,
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Now you can leave. Run.
Thanks, Linda.
Okay,
On website,
the town website.
what's that all about?
So Jennifer is going to present some options for us.
So y'all had asked a while ago to start looking at changes or refurbishing the website, if you will. So I met with the company that we contract with for our website, Logistics Plus, to talk to them about what a new upgrade would look like. And they are just going through a major upgrade themselves. They've merged 3 different companies together. So I had a very interesting meeting with their person for us, and I was a little taken back by what a conversion to their new site looked at, because people have used the words that they have difficulty searching and the website's not dynamic and things like that. So I looked at it and I went through it with him, and he quoted us a price of $32,000 to upgrade the website. And then the yearly would be $5,584 for the yearly subscription. So that felt like a big chunk, especially when the program that he demonstrated to me doesn't look any different than what we have right now. Like, I just didn't see where that major investment of money, what we were going to get from it. So that was a concern for me. I've had, so in the course of all of this, I've reached out and spoken to the IT person at the school, whose name I'm blanking out on right now. Bigda is his last name. And he and I've met, and we're looking at, because the school's also thinking about refurbishing, redoing. And so they're looking at other companies as well. So we're looking about maybe partnering together. And so we're exploring what else there is and out there in the world other than Civics Plus. But Civics Plus is buying every website company they can get their hands on. That's what happened to Virtual Town Hall in Schools, which was the site that we had before we did this one, which was my first major project for the town was this website. And it's about 6 years old now.
How much are we paying now?
$5,000
Annual subscription?
Mm-hmm.
So the big cost is the.
The cost would be just the upgrade.
Yes.
Which doesn't really sound like an upgrade.
I was very disappointed by what they offered. There are other companies out there. But what I'm afraid of is that we go with another company and then in 7 months they get bought by Civics Plus, because they do seem to be snatching everybody up. I would like to sort of just get, I would like to get your feedback on what y'all, the select board, are looking for the website. Do we need to have just a working group of people and make sure that all of our information is up to date, and that's something that we can do? Do you want me to continue the exploration of finding other companies, bringing them to you, reviewing them? Do you want a committee? Like what is it that y'all would like? Last time everybody gave a lot of feedback, and then I ran and we switched it over and we did all of that. And there was a group of people that worked on it. It wasn't an official committee because we let each department do their own page, and we gave control to the departments, which I thought would be beneficial because they would keep their information up to date. But asking volunteers to keep their stuff up to date all the time, or offices where, you know, we're swimming everywhere, it tends not to be always up to date. And I'm guilty of it. I went on on y'all's website, I call it mine, but on y'all's website the other day, I was like, oh, well, that's out of date. And so I spent a few minutes and cleaned it up. But I would like to know what y'all's directions are and how you want to move forward with this process.
Jane?
Yeah, I'm sure the rest of my board members have gotten all of the emails about companies that want to do a new website for us. I wonder if what Jennifer's saying about Civics Plus buying them up, if we set up a website with a different company, which is chosen through some method, and they get bought up, wouldn't we still maintain the style of that website, or would they force us to change it to what they have?
They did force us to change to what they had because we renewed with Virtual Town Halls in School. Virtual Town Halls in Schools is the company we renewed with. And then Civics Plus took over and moved us to what they had. And they purchased it, no joke, they purchased it the day after the contract was signed. They sent an email out the next day telling us that they had been purchased by someone else, which I was looking through the file as I was doing this, and I actually saw that, and then I remembered to myself, they literally sent an email the day after we sent them the signed contract saying that they had been bought by Civics Plus.
It might be good to know who does other towns' websites. I mean, I am on every town's website within 50 miles of here. So some are really good and some are really bad. And so if we could find out who does what, and maybe we could talk with somebody else.
Absolutely.
That would be helpful.
I will say, I've been digging in quite a bit. A lot of our neighbors use Civics Plus, or the next version up is Civics Engage. And if you want to look for an example of Civics Engage, you could look at Northampton's website. That's who they use. And there's not a whole lot of difference between Civics Plus and Civics Engage. But Civics Engage is what the bigger cities tend to use. I'm happy to compile a list of different companies and what our neighbors say over towards the Berkshires here and over towards the Berkshires.
Mhm.
Is that like an adequate enough grouping or?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I like Belchertown's website. They're pretty good to work. It's pretty easy to work with. Northampton's is nice.
And the other thing to bear in mind is that the software is one thing, but the upfront content management design is the most important thing.
Right.
And I think that's where having some sort of a working group, you know, I mean, just one thing, like if the search engine itself that's underneath does work very well, well, you're going to be limited, but how you load the content and the logic behind where you find things, that's an implementation issue, right?
Okay. So I would ask, and I hope that we're not being watched by the whole town tonight, but I would ask if people are having difficulties with the website, shoot me a quick email or something like that, because if it's a tweak, that's easy enough to do. And I would love to get your feedback, Molly. It sounds like you have like some very clear things. So no matter where we go on this, if there's changes that can be made in the meantime, then let's make the changes in the meantime is my thought.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, does Jane want to go?
One of the things that I hear, and I'm sure Jennifer is fed up with, is the need, as she said earlier, volunteers don't really maintain their websites, or they need to be trained how to do it, and then they have a new volunteer in charge of that piece, and it's a constant activity, and we should find something that is really user-friendly for people to be able to put their information on.
You can echo that, so hold on.
Okay.
Okay. One of my observations is you can have the most perfect website, you got to have somebody to manage it.
Mhm.
So the town you're talking about, that there's an IT department, like that there's an individual that's designated for that. I do think that something as part of this discussion, because it's very, I think it has everything to do with the concerns you're expressing, is moving forward on who manages that. She can't do her job plus manage volunteer requests, putting this up and trying to update and remember, because it changes constantly.
And maybe
So
that's
I
where we
really think
partner.
that should be the first, is we really need to look at what's the smartest way to move forward. We can spend money on another website and all the information, all the due diligence she's gonna do, looking at all different, if you don't have somebody to do it, update it. It's the smaller towns this is one of our biggest challenges.
Can we partner with the school since they have IT?
They're so this is the other thing. In a lot of IT departments where it's a one person, they're doing the technical aspect. They're not doing web design, and that's consistent. And you usually have an IT department who's got the technician and the person who's organizing, but you need to have somebody it's really social media management that is really a position that looks at that. And I'm not recommending a position right now, obviously, but I think we have to be really careful about exhausting resources to compare without anyone to manage it.
Well, if we ask Jennifer to go forward with just kind of that survey aspect of it, to say, what are you using? You know, is it 6+ or whatever? Maybe an add-on question could be, and how are you maintaining the website? Do you have a dedicated resource? Is it part, you know, that would be helpful.
To Glow.
Sue?
You're muted.
Yes, of course I am. I just wanted to point out that back in 2015, when we did the SWOT analysis, every single department had the kind of their priority position as we need IT, even part-time. And part of this has to do with the website. You know, I'm perfectly able to upload things all over the place, but not on Civics Plus. So, you know, I think we really need to take a look at least something part-time or shared with the school, because we were talking about doing that before.
Okay.
I will say that I did when we first switched, I did 2 trainings. I did a daytime one with staff and an evening one with volunteers. And I did have a bunch of volunteers who came and did it. And maybe we need to do a refresher training. I will say that as much as everybody dislikes Drupal, and I'm offering my expertise from websites, other websites that I've worked on. I worked on websites at UMass. I worked on websites at Smith College. And so Drupal is a pretty standard, this is a Drupal-based website that we do. And it is a pretty standard kind of program. There's other ones out there, but Drupal is a friendlier one than some of the others. I think that a lot of people struggle with the functionality of it. And a lot of people also, like the website, the front page of the website, everybody wants to put things on the front page of the website. And because that's where we do our town meeting calendar, and that's where we do our official postings, it's very limited to who has access to that, because we don't want a volunteer committee posting their meeting without legally posting their meeting with Jessica. So there are things like that, and that was a big jump for the town, because before that there was the notebook, I guess, that hung on the steps on the side of town hall, and that was y'all's legal posting. Right. So we have made big jumps, and I think we can just keep moving forward on that, and see what else we can do. I would personally like it if more people sent me town events, because I do put them up there when people send them to me, but I don't always get them. And I know that that's a complaint. People are like, there's nothing on the community events calendar. Well, I can load things up there if I'm not informed about them or if they're not sent to me. But there are small things we can do without taking a lot of my time looking at Carolyn in the short time, and I can put together that for the rest of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sue's got her hand.
Jane?
Jane. Oh, Sue was up there.
A question about what you just said, that people can't post on the front page because they may not have posted a meeting. Is it possible to ask Jessica if she is willing, once she gets a meeting to post, to simply go into that and put it on that calendar?
That's something I could ask Jessica about, but that is gonna add quite a bit of work to any employee that you ask for them to do that for every department. It makes a large burden upon that person. So that was why we trained the boards and the committees so they could do it themselves on their web pages. But we found that people weren't keeping them up when they had their calendars on there and their agendas posted, and they would have, the last time they would post an agenda was in 2019. So then the website was looking a little shabby because nothing was updated. So I went through and started talking to boards and committees and having them pull those calendars down, because if they're not going to be updated, then it just looks out of date and it makes it look like nobody's working on it or caring about the website. And if you're looking for a town meeting, I would encourage everybody to look at the town meeting calendar on the front of the webpage.
Okay, so we have next steps then.
Okay. Portion 7, which is other items not anticipated 24 hours in advance.
It got moved
But I
somehow.
don't think
Board docs. It was under there.
What was it?
Yeah, so the alcohol regulations, I think it was under new business.
Yeah.
Or it should be under new business because it was posted with the rest of the agenda.
Yeah.
So we can make that change, but would you like to speak on that?
Sure, I'll do this one relatively quickly. Y'all had asked for me, Tallerman and Costa to work on alcohol regulations for y'all. So this is the regulations, the draft regulations that they've provided. The one thing that they did not have in there were sort of the penalties for violations. And so I talked to Lisa Mead about this, and she said if we put it in as guidelines, that would be acceptable, but she hesitates to have them in there because she doesn't want y'all to be, what should I say, hamstringed by this is what the paper says. And this by not having the violations in there, it allows you to make your own decision as a board on what you feel is appropriate. So I hope everybody's had a chance to read them over. I did attach 2 other towns on there for you to just sort of have a look at someone else's. And then any questions y'all have about them?
No, I'm assuming that this is like a first
Draft.
draft.
Yes. Mhm.
Right, and that we'll have time to look into it and then bring any questions
Yes.
to you.
Yes,
Meantime.
please bring them to me and I can work with Carolyn and Lisa to get the answers or find other examples for y'all. And then it's not, actually, Carolyn, can you tell me if I can say this? I hope I can.
I don't know what you're gonna say.
Maybe y'all can't respond, but y'all had continued the Young Men's Club hearing until November 1st. And I didn't know if maybe.
Yeah, I would probably say, well, we can do that in a different, it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
So we'll do it under
Nope.
section 9.
Nope.
If you want to add it, right?
The next
No.
we'll have to. Well, it's not, it's not on the agenda. I'm sorry.
No,
It's just-
that's okay. I just was
Okay.
bringing it up that it is coming.
All right. Select board members' items for future discussion.
Yes, I want to paint the town hall. I want that to go on the spring town meeting and go to CPA.
I can put that on a future. meeting.
Future agenda so that we can get that rolling so that it can get there in the spring. We're spending all kinds of money on everything else. It's our tax dollar. It's what comes out of our taxes. It's the center of town, so we might as well spend our money on
Definitely put it on. the
finishing
agenda.
up the rest of the town hall. If we're gonna make the pillars look good, what about the rest of the building? So that's my logic.
The Housing and Economic Development Committee, we wanted to do a check-in with both boards, but kind of run between planning board and select board.
Okay.
So tentatively, we were looking to target the first meeting in November. And just let the select board know what we've been talking about, what we're working on. And we'll do the same thing to the planning board, just to make sure that everybody's comfortable.
Okay.
I had mentioned at a previous meeting that I wanted to discuss the public comment period and the procedure that we have. I would still like to do that.
What did you want to do?
The public comment period procedures.
Okay.
And then we need a follow-up at the last select board meeting. Troy did the presentation. And I think the thought was for us to have a follow-up discussion on what we want to do, if we want to form a committee to look at the strong town administrator to, that shouldn't just be done in a vacuum, that we would want more input. So,
Okay.
put that on.
So just remember, we have only one meeting in November. So we only have 3 more meetings the rest of the year. Right? There's one November 1st and then there's 2 in December.
There'll be 2 in November.
There'll be 2.
Was there? Okay, I'm sorry. It wasn't in the draft. That's why I was.
I only did 6 months out. I'm sorry.
No, you have December in there. There's just only one in November.
Maybe I don't like November. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's one November 1st and then December 6th and December 20th. I didn't know if there was something weird.
What's wrong with the 15th?
There's nothing. It's just,
with the
it's just a typo.
So Amy, I'll have a discussion with you because those are some larger topics, how to divide those up in the next couple meetings.
Okay. Yep. Anything else?
Were you gonna hear the town administrator's report?
I am. I'm sorry. I don't know why I skipped over you. I didn't mean to.
It'll be quick. So I updated the town administrator's report. I wanted to give you an idea of what HR open positions there are open positions for the town. We have dispatcher, police officer, COA director, DPW labor, and the assistant DPW mechanic. Those are in the screening process right now. And we are in the interviewing process for an HR assistant. The senior tax workout program, if you're all familiar with that, I just want to make sure that people know about that. If they want more information about that, they can contact the senior center. It's basically working in lieu of a certain amount to get tax. and the senior center. There's also more information on the front page of the website. I'm just skipping down to updates. I think everybody was there and realized what a great success the DPW feasibility Touch the Truck open house informational event took place on Saturday. Special thanks to all the employees that were there and helped out. I do want to thank Lauren Trombley from the police department. She was a huge help in all of the coordination and getting that done. And Susan as well, and Gary, there was a lot of help. So that was a great, nice event. And so we're very excited, beginning October 23rd, Happy Fire Department will be doing a nice announcement and starting their basic life support ambulance. So I gave you a little bit more details about that. It begins at 10, Chief, and ends what time?
It's just short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Okay, 10 to 11? If that. So Chief did put a press release together for you. For the press, and we're going to get that out tomorrow. And I'll send you guys all a copy of that. Classification and compensation plan is moving forward, and we're pretty close to getting all of to get it complete with the going back and forth of reviewing the job descriptions, going to the staff coming back to us forwarding it back to the Collins Center, and Troy's keeping that all going, and it's probably every day he's working on that. And then we had kind of talked about not doing a public forum. I'm feeling that we have to do something. And I would say, this is my recommendation, and I put it in here. I think we should schedule it, and we should do it and use that as the run through, and really have a really serious discussion about how to do the annual town meeting in preparation. Because we had kind of thrown out things during that last conversation, but it really wasn't settled. So if we haven't posted it, but we are preparing for it.
Yep, I think it's a very good idea.
I don't.
So,
I think we had 11 people there the last time, and that was for town meeting. And
Like Carolyn said, it's also a run through, so it's not just for the people.
we don't need a run through. We've done it twice now. Last one, and tonight we did town meeting. We did the warrant. I don't know why we have to do it again.
The goal would be.
The moderator wasn't there.
Right.
What did she say?
The moderator wasn't there.
Well, he's never there.
Well,
He didn't even show up the last time to know what was going on at town
So it's
meeting.
not really an agenda item. I'm sorry that I moved forward, but it's going to be scheduled. Players that are involved with the town meeting need it. So I'm going to ask for your indulgence that we move forward with that.
okay.
And where is that going to be? Here
Here,
on Zoom?
or we've done it in Zoom, so
I have another meeting that night.
I would prefer to do it here rather than on Zoom. But whatever.
I will keep you updated. I'll see what the logistics are. It will be at minimum Zoom, so.
Okay.
And then town hall columns moving forward. We met today, and based on weather conditions and temperature, we're moving. When I say moving right along, it is a process, as you know. It's taking a long time to strip that paint. So tomorrow we have 4 interviews with 4 firms to review the qualifications for the Russell School Reuse feasibility study, and we have a screening committee that you guys are all aware of. And that's happening tomorrow. And we hopefully will have a recommendation to you by the next select board meeting. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Just so you know, the parking lot at Town Hall is going to be closed Friday, most likely Monday, and possibly Tuesday, as they do some Route 9, what do you call it? Curbing. They're doing the cutting through the curbing and paving. So we'll notify the employees tomorrow about that. We just found out about that. So that'll take place on Friday. And next week will be Haley's last week. And Jane, there is an event, correct? Or 3 to 4? I have that in my calendar.
That's correct. On the last Friday of the month, we will have an event open to the town to say thank you, Haley, and good luck in your future. Everybody's welcome.
That's Friday, the 27th or whatever?
Yes.
Correct.
All
And
right.
we hope you all come. It's just a drop and you don't have to stay for the whole hour. But we have a lot of people making refreshments, so should have something of interest.
There will be food.
And then you can go to the trunk or treat right after that for dessert. That's the police. I think that's at 5 o'clock, the police station.
So that is it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any liaison reports?
No, but I got a couple of tests.
Okay. So let's move on to announcements.
I just have 3 passings of Robert Hawkins. So condolences to his family. We had a Louise Hopkins. She leaves 2 daughters. One of them is Kim Hickey that lives here in Hadley. So condolences to her family and friends. And then there was also Sue Giza. She worked at the superintendent's office. She was not a Hadley resident, but she is known to many people. So our condolences to her family also.
Okay. Any other announcements?
Banner committee will be at the Sugar Shack. I guess it's been moved to Sunday instead of Saturday because of the rain. So the crafts fair will be Sunday instead of Saturday from 11 to 4. So we will have a pop-up there for anybody that's interested in having a banner of somebody that's living or somebody that has passed, that has been in the military, that is from Hadley, that has lived here for 5 years, who came from Hadley. So you don't necessarily have to live here, but you went to school here. So there's many different options that we can do. There are applications at the town hall, the senior center, the library, and the Legion. So please take a look at the application if you feel that your person would like to have their flag on a flagpole. Huh?
And the Rag Shag Parade is.
Rag Shag Parade is on the 29th. And it comes from the Hadley Legion. So we do thank the Hadley Legion for sponsoring this event as they do each year.
And the police department will be holding the annual trunk or treat on Friday. I think it's, I'm sorry, in the fire department. I'm sorry. It's the Hadley Safety Complex, actually. So it's fire and police and soon to be EMS as well. That's at 5 o'clock, right?
You just have to decorate the back ends of your vehicles or whatever, and the candy is supplied by public safety.
Taking a day off work.
Walk through the station.
Yeah, it's like a drive-through.
It's a walkthrough. Is it walkthrough?
Drive or walk, either one. Okay. So I am going to make a motion here.
You are going to.
I'll make the motion. So it's going to move pursuant to General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A3. The board go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to potential litigation. Do I have to describe those litigation? No. Potential litigation.
That's fine.
So as the chair, I've determined that the public discussion of which would have a detrimental impact on the litigating position of the board, and we will not be returning to open session.
Second.
Motion by me, second by Randy.
Roll call vote, Keegan,
Yes.
Chunglo,
Yes.
Parsons,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
and Nevin Smith.
Yes.
Hey,
Great.
Jane, we're gonna do the switch. You know what we do.
Yep, stop the recording.